What's up, team? Today, I'm going to be talking about my life right now. Semi-pro, just that level before pro rugby, and what it's like, just so you can get reality of it. Because before people take endeavors, right? Before they set it, let's say you set a goal. I want to be this, I want to be that. You don't, what disappoints you is when your expectation is like trumped by the reality of the situation. So you expected a certain thing to be this way, but then the reality is this is what it looks like. So I'm giving you the reality of what it looks like to be a semi-pro rugby player, not the top level pro. I'm not there yet, but the semi-pro, and what the reality looks like. And so you can get a little idea and have an expectation before you get to it. So the first things so what it looks like is you'll train throughout your week. You'll do your training. I'm in a preseason right now. You do your training. But when you go home and stuff, you're still like everyone else. You're just working. You know, you work, you have a place to pay, bills to pay, and all that stuff. So there's rugby, and then you still have to live a normal life, work life, and you have to try and balance the two. And that, you know, sometimes that can take away from rugby. You might get too tired at work, affects how you play. Or let's say you choose to work a bit less, but now it affects your financial situation, and you have to be smarter with money, or you start stressing about it a bit if you get stressed or whatever. So you gotta choose between, you know, how much you want to work and how much you want to save and stuff, and that's up to you. Then you've got the sacrifices you make. So my sacrifices that you don't realize until you start living. And this is for people that move away from their home. So not for people that like live in a state, and like let's say you live in New South Wales, you're playing Shoe Shield, but you're still with your family, you're still alright. Still doing fine, that's genuinely decent. But let's say you move away from your family and all that stuff. Best believe you're gonna miss your family. Best believe you're gonna be feeling a bit lonely. Best believe, you know, you're not gonna have that safe comfort that you feel at home, that you feel when you're at home. All that stuff. Those are things you sacrifice and stuff, and you have to understand that trade-off before you come here and you do that stuff. And you understand that trade-off, and you know that that's what you're gonna be feeling, and then when you're in that moment that you start feeling it, you're like, oh wait, I made this trade-off, I made this sacrifice. Why did I make this sacrifice? Because I'm doing this. And then you go back, boom, boom, you start doing it. You stay locked in, and you remember why you're here. Because sometimes when you expect something else, and then you come here and the reality hits, you're like, damn, I missed. You lose that. Wait, that was something that I sacrificed. You made that decision. So you gotta understand the reality. Let me think of more to say. Oh, it's also a very foreign environment, right? Like, I'm lucky to have maybe one of the boys I knew before. I kind of knew his brothers. I played with his brothers, and then so it kind of made us comfortable with all my roommates and stuff. But you might be with roommates, you might not even know. You might even not have roommates. You might be in a trash place or whatever. And when you get to the team, you don't know anyone, and you gotta like build yourself into the environment. So you gotta, I don't know, you maybe have to get your social skills up or whatever. There's still players I don't know on the team and stuff like that. But that's also a struggle because you kind of feel lost. You feel like you can feel like a little fish in the sea when everyone else they all know each other, and you just feel a bit small. But if you're confident, you do what you want, you know what you need to do and stuff. If you can, or however you handle that situation, that's another thing. Like just feeling like, you know. But I'd say the main thing is the stuff outside of rugby. Because when you're playing rugby, you're kind of just playing rugby, right? You're there with your team. It's all kind of the same stuff. The life outside of rugby is very like it can affect you. Very lonely. If you don't have like, yeah, you have your boys and stuff, but you miss your family, you know, you miss that. You gotta sort your stuff out, do this, be patient with certain things to happen, there's certain things to come around. Like I gotta be patiently save money so I can patiently pay for things, maybe patiently pay for a trip to go back home and see my family, patiently pay things off. And there's little stresses bring, you gotta be prepared to, you know, face that experience of that. I'm not saying, you know, and the only way you're gonna struggle is if you don't expect that. Like you expect something else, you think it's all gonna just be like sunshine and rainbows. But that's why it's important to take care of yourself outside of rugby. So when you come rugby, you're just expressing yourself and playing yourself. But I thought it'd just be cool to, because maybe a few years back, when I was about 19, I went to Queensland. I played in that comp and I was by myself in a host family. But I never had any work experience outside of rugby, never saved money, never worked a job and all that stuff. And I feel like that just ruined my whole experience, and I started to hate rugby and all that stuff because my outside life and who I wasn't sorted. So, but now I'm different. I had that 2 years to just take him and learn how to take care of myself and all that stuff. So when I came here, I knew it was going to be hard. There was still a few things that would be harder, like more so I didn't think I was going to miss my family that much. I thought I was a hard dude, and I was like, oh, I miss my family. Especially my daughter, I miss my daughter. But the boys here. Yeah, the boys. Yeah, those are things you gotta keep out for. And for me, I've been reading my Bible, keeping my soul protected, and yeah, just really sort out who you are outside of rugby so you can go in there and smash it, eh? But I was giving you the reality of the situation, of what it's like, and yeah, just don't expect sunshine and rainbows, and really, yeah, think about what it's going to be like to be bad. I can continue the video. One of the boys just left. He like came in for a second and then left. But this video basically is give you an expectation, a realistic expectation, no fluff. Everyone wants to be a pro rugby player and stuff, but these things are gonna make you want to quit, and it's usually not rugby. It's like, I feel like if at this level, it's usually not rugby. It's the stuff outside that makes it seem impossible, and then you have no energy to go training and all that stuff because you can't take care of yourself outside. You can't ground yourself and calm yourself and just know that these are the ways things are, and trust that there's a way around it, and stay calm. And then also, when you do that, you know how to operate and optimize yourself for rugby. So when you're rugby, it's just rugby. You're not like, damn, I'm so tired from work today, and because you've prepared yourself and you've sorted that stuff out. So that is some things you need to think about, because there's gonna be a point where you're gonna want to quit because you feel lost. You just feel a bit lost. You feel like you go on a rugby training and you feel lost, you feel like you're not improving, and you feel like you're just like, damn, you kind of forget why you're here, you miss family, and you want to satisfy those emotions straight away, but you need some structure, you need all of that. So I'm giving you the expectation. It's up to you how you want to figure it out. I have my ways I figure it out with my structure and my reminders. You got to remind yourself and really have it on your mind while you're here, so you don't get lost. You didn't come here to just come here and go back home. Do you know what I mean? That would be just a waste of time. You came here with an intent, or whatever the reason you came here to do. But no, I came here to be the best rugby player I can be. So I optimize things for that. Remember that, and also think about the sacrifices you made. So when you're missing your family, when you're not living the most lavish lifestyle and all these things and all that stuff, remember that you're doing that. You're putting that pain on yourself. Now you've got a reason to go hard. Now you're like, well, I sacrificed. I might as well make it work. I might as well do the things that I gotta do because I'm already here sacrificing. I'm already here sacrificing, not seeing my family. So now I better have a good reason that I did that, you know? Remember those things. But yeah, it's there's a lot of good players that come here, I feel, and they just drop off. And I was one of them back when I was 19. You know, I was a good player and stuff, but then boom, hit with that reality outside rugby that you're not the superstar. There's people that are on the same level and you all live a tough lifestyle. But I was a kid back then, you know? So, yeah. And also, who you are outside of rugby will dictate, you know, how you play rugby, like what you bring to the field and stuff. And I've leaned more into God now, and I feel like that's helped me a lot. Yeah, putting God first and stuff. Now I don't play rugby for myself. I play to express myself and honor the talents that God gave me and stuff, and make my family proud, make my family happy, and I provide a lifestyle for them and stuff. So, you know, this is mainly just to give you a glimpse of what it's like. So I'll reiterate what it is again. It's gonna be lonely nights, missing your family, low money or too much working, fatigue for training. You can be like, why me? You know, you're gonna feel entitled, like you need stuff and all that stuff. But no, you shut up and you just realize that this is reality. Other people are doing it too. Is you're gonna have doubts if you can even handle it along. That's part of the journey too. That's another reality. It's just a lot of doubts and whatever. There's gonna be temptations and lifestyles that you think, oh, okay, just try and distract yourself. No, you don't do that. You came here for a reason. You didn't sacrifice those sacrifices. Remember those sacrifices I said, those trade-offs? Think about those. Did you do that so you can distract yourself? No. You did it so you can stay switched on and go for that goal. And just remember that, because you'll feel like a piece of shit if you do. Yeah, I think that's mainly all the stuff it is, but you just gotta, you know, not feel entitled and just stay grounded and just stay. This is where a lot of the work is done. Yeah. The rugby we find is outside of rugby stuff. That's the stuff that will have a mental toll as long as you keep your mental for thicker. So, ouch.